Good morning, everybody, and it is Fabulous Friday featuring me, Claudia Rickard. Now, I do get people asking me, how come you're seeing children and then you're also seeing people living with dementia and the caregivers? Well, for me, they're all people, and people have issues, and children can often have issues because of their parents. And the people living with dementia and the caregivers can also have issues because of their parents and things that happen to them. So they all have issues. Now, for me personally, it is really important to get rid of those past significant emotional events or feelings. For a child, if we can get rid of those, then that means the child gets to play and can be all they can be. And they do not have to be stuck with those negative emotional feelings of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, and therefore, which can make them be stuck in life or have awful relationships because they are not being their authentic selves. For somebody living with dementia, and if they go down the road of all of the stages of dementia and get to stage 7, then they may well be in a home. And if they have had significant emotional events like being abused, and those have not been, if you like, sorted out and put back here into the hippocampus where they belong, then if they're being cared for by somebody who has not perhaps been taught as well as they could be, as some caregivers are not, and say they're being washed and their bottom is being washed, well, I know what I would do if somebody just came into my room, pulled my covers back and started washing my bottom. I would probably hit them. Now, there is a way to do that, and most caregivers are taught it. Most, absolutely. They're wonderful human beings, and there are many angels out there that do this, and it is their calling, and they are wonderful people, and I know many of them. However, I also know that occasionally there are those that have not been taught as well as they could be. And if the person living with dementia has been abused, then they are more than likely to attack that person somehow, scream, shout. And if they do lash out, then they will be harnessed, if you like, and they will be put on psych meds. Now, that to me is something that could be prevented. I don't like the idea of it at all. It hurts me to think about that. And for me, if I can get to see somebody who is at the beginning stages of their journey living with dementia, and they are able to share that with me, that they had this event going on in their lives, then I can do havening with them. I'm a certified havening practitioner. I would do that with them, and that will help them put it back into their hippocampus, so that if they ever get to that later stage, and if they are unfortunate enough to have somebody who hasn't been taught as well as they could be, then that issue won't arise. I do know that has happened. I've heard it, and I didn't like it. If I can do something about it, even if it's helping one person, then that's helped one person. And as I say, because this is what I do day in, day out with a lot of my adults, helping people with significant emotional events or feelings, real or imagined, because it doesn't matter. If somebody says, well, that didn't happen to them, that doesn't matter. If they think it has happened, then it has happened. So I can help people. And if I can help remove those significant emotional events or feelings and put them in the right place in their brain where they're meant to be stored, that I'm not magic. I can't take what's happened away. I can turn that event and back down set into something so that it is that they get the feeling of being indifferent. So say that thing is like a cloying frog in their throat. I can't actually take the frog away because somebody will always need the learning from it, but I can turn it back into a tadpole or frog spawn. And that is what I do day in, day out with people. And I love it because I can see the change. And so if I can do that with children, and they get to play and stop having those awful things that I know my adults have, where they're kept stuck for so many years, then that would to me, it's just wonderful that we can relieve them of those significant emotional events or feelings early on, as early as possible. So, as I say, so that they can be all they can be, and that they never even have to go down that place of if they do get dementia. And of course, we know that we are not our behaviors, we are our good intention. And so many times my adults actually using behaviors to suppress those past events. And so if a child can be released of those early on, then that means that they won't need to take any drugs or alcohol or too much of anything. I'm not saying that they're all necessarily that awful for you, but if they're taken to addiction level, then they will have a massive effect on people. And again, lack of sleep, all those things, that is what can happen to people because they become hyper vigilant and they don't sleep because of something that happened. And obviously things don't always happen just when childhood. They can happen as you're a teenager, an early adult, and even as an adult. I've had plenty of things happen to me as an adult, my childhood was fine, but it was more as though I was an adult. So it just depends on the person. For me, it's all about getting rid of those significant emotional events or feelings. And that is what I do. I hope that makes sense, that I can see children, adults. I see people. To me, little people are people and older people are people. I see people. Free your fears and fulfill your future with Claudia Rickard, the English hypnotist. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I hope that makes sense somehow. Bye.